Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, scholars and dignitaries, welcome to another episode. Welcome to my world.
Hello, friends. So, growing up, I came from a large Italian family, and it's no surprise we were taught the basic values of God, family, country, and other values, including, yes, hard work. You see, to survive, and not even to prosper, but just to survive, you had to produce, you had to work, you had to make ends meet for your family, you had to pull your own weight. There were no other options. So, as youth, we were taught to do our chores, to mow the lawn or shovel snow, to work in the garden or on the farm, and to run errands for the neighbors to make a couple of dollars. It was our way. So the work ethic was instilled in us at a very young age, as it should be. Now, don't get me wrong, we had balance in our lives. Church, family, recreation, hobbies, and family. A lot of family. So work was not the only interest we had, nor was it the most important, but it was both essential and it taught us a lot of lessons along the way. Both good lessons and sometimes things we had to learn the hard way. And very fast, one of the key lessons we learned is that if you do a job and do it well, if you apply yourself, if you strive for excellence, you can advance yourself. People take notice. You are complimented and even offered raises, and other opportunities open up to you. Opportunities for advancement that either might not be available to others, or you are the first person that comes to mind when a promotion comes along. And also, let me say that not every job I had I liked. We started on the bottom and did everything from cleaning bathrooms to working on the farm to painting houses to make some money. But every job taught me a lesson, a valuable lesson about life itself. So that brings us to today's discussion about work and work addiction. Now, this is my opinion and my observations. Work is important, whether at home, in the factory, on the farm, or at the office. But like everything, there has to be a balance. It has to be a part of your life and not your life. Work needs to be a means towards an end and not the end itself. Even if you own the business and are expected to put in more time than any of your employees, there has to be an equilibrium in your life, and that will never be found if your work is your sole goal. And just one case in point, I know a lawyer, a friend, that got caught up in this dysfunctional law firm. Yes, he made a lot of money, and he was very good at what he did, so the firm kept promoting him, and then they made him a managing partner of the firm. With that came more responsibilities, more work, and higher levels of stress and pressure, and more work. His life fell apart. His family, his home, and his health, everything that was truly important, dissolved right in front of him, except for his work. And the end result was that he threw himself even more into his work, augmenting the very dynamic that caused his problems in the first place. And then, instead of working on his real problem, he began drinking, thinking that that would solve the anxiety and tension, and of course, that only compounded his problems all the more so. And this is very different from, let's say, a teacher who is focused and works hard with extra hours during the school year and who is dedicated to her students, but has a chance to rest, relax, and recreate during the breaks in the summer recess. That teacher also has an intensity, but there is a balance to be found. Work addiction, often called workaholism, is a very real emotional and mental health condition. Like any other addiction, it becomes dysfunctional and causes the person great distress and numerous problems, even if they don't realize it. Work addiction is a little different than the other addictions in that there is usually a greater positivity to the behavior before it becomes problematic. But the hallmark feature is the same as any other addiction: the inability to either reduce or especially stop a behavior causing great distress. In this case, it is often driven by job success and sometimes the lure of money, but as often by a compulsive need to achieve status and success or to escape emotional stress, in reducing anxiety. And it's even common in people who tend to be perfectionists. In one sense, like someone with a drug addiction, a person with a work addiction gets a high from working, and this is why they may be unable to stop the behavior despite the negative ways it affects their social, personal, physical, emotional, mental, or even spiritual health. It offers them, gives them, something that becomes very valuable and perhaps even more important to them than anything else in their life. And again, especially because we praise hard work today and putting in overtime is often expected, it can be difficult to distinguish between regular work and work addiction. But often people with a work addiction put in long hours at the office even when not needed, lose sleep to engage in work projects or finish tasks, become obsessed with work-related success, have an intense fear of failure at work, become paranoid about work-related performance, find failing personal relationships because of their work, have a defensive attitude towards others about their work to cope with feelings of guilt or anxiety or depression, and begin to work harder to avoid dealing with crises like death, divorce, or financial problems. People with a work addiction will often justify their behavior by explaining why work is a good thing and can help them achieve success, and they start to use defense mechanisms to protect their work identity. At first, they may simply appear committed to their job or the success of their projects. However, eventually, their ambition and addiction grow to be quite different. A person with a work addiction may engage in compulsive work to avoid other aspects of their life, like troubling emotional issues or personal crises. And similar to other addictions, the person may engage in the behavior unaware of the negative effects that the addiction itself is causing. So, if you have any question about your work, ask yourself, do I work in order to reduce guilt, helplessness, depression, and anxiety? Have you been told to reduce your time working, but ignore those suggestions? Spend much more time working than you initially intended to. Become stressed when you're not able to work. Lower the importance of hobbies, fun activities, and fitness in exchange for more time working. Find that your work has negatively impacted your friendships or relationships, and think about this because often others see what we can't see for ourselves. So, yes, work addiction is an insidious problem. Psychologists estimate that about 10% of the population is caught in the web of work addiction, and it can go as high as 20 or 25%, depending upon the profession or the circumstances. And it can happen anywhere and in any occupation or vocation. In fact, it is a worldwide problem, and often we aren't even aware of either the extent of it or how it negatively affects us, subtly at first, and then more significantly and dramatically as it grows. The answer, of course, is to curtail the work and use any means necessary to do so. And if you need to, talk with a professional counselor and get support for both your attempts to deal with the work issue, as well as getting support for your emotional or mental health needs that correspond. This is not as easy as it sounds, and you may start to confront some personal and professional difficulties in stepping back from your work. To be honest, you may even need more intensive counseling if you have a work addiction, even to the same level as someone with a drug addiction. And many people with a work addiction find help through a 12-step group, such as Workaholics Anonymous. There are groups all across the country, but there are even online meetings to help for convenience and accessibility. It may also be important to ask for help because work addiction can be related to a serious underlying condition, such as an obsessive compulsive disorder, and it can cause other mental health issues, such as depression and especially burnout, a point of complete physical and mental exhaustion, which is a common long-term result of work addiction. And burnout itself can lead to extreme stress, broken relationships, drinking and drug use, and as bad, a loss of the sense of joy, happiness, and fulfillment in your life. So it may be advisable to seek professional help. If nothing else, a counselor can help you make lifestyle changes, balance your life activities, and avoid stressors and triggers. So, like most addictions, work addiction will get worse over time until you address the problem. And it really does increase stress, even to the point of chronic stress, although you may not even recognize it. And it damages family and friendships, sometimes permanently. Fortunately, work addiction is manageable, and with the proper counseling, people can restore a healthy balance in their life, and yes, even in their work life. And a final point, sometimes the work addiction is job specific. In this regard, the only answer may be to leave that particular job or even that particular career. To make a decision of that importance again, I would suggest doing it with professional guidance. Hey, be safe, be well, enjoy your work, and may God bless.